Again, we're going to be talking about sketch today. We'll talk about making color palettes right now. Again, in the colors window, which is under view colors right here, you can build yourself a color palette down here in this bottom area by using the eyedropper. So again, use the eyedropper, you suck up a color you want, and then you take it from here and you can drag it into this swatch over here. See how I dragged it in the swatch? Then I can use the eyedropper again, and I get my red that I want to use, so I'm going to choose the red. So I use that same red, and I think it's 100%. Oh no, it's not quite 100% red, but it's a red I used. Then the pink, kind of pinkish background, I'm going to choose the color there, which is kind of gradated to the color down here. And I would use those again. Same with the colors in these buttons here. I'd want to make sure I'm using these over again, so I'm going to select that. And that's pretty much all the colors I pretty much used so far. So, you know, yeah, it would be, it's actually inherent to the specific sketch that you are using. So I don't think the color palette would go along with it. And like if I was in Illustrator and I made myself a swatch and I saved the file, that swatch would stay with it. I haven't saw that the color actually came through with this, and then I don't see how to save the color palette. Yeah, I'm not sure. How to keep these. I was just using them as working, and then of course you have different ways of choosing colors inside here, and of course the famous crayons or colored pencils. But as you're working though, so let's say you want to make a second screen. I'm going to zoom in here. Again, the same keys are the same as in Photoshop, where you can use your Command plus. And then I'm going to move over here. And you'll notice my fonts got kind of messed up here because the font that I used for this kind of logo kind of thing that I have left over for all kind of is messed up there. So I don't have a font for that. So I could probably choose, what was it? American Captain is what I was using. Oh, it's got a whole bunch of fonts missing. I was using San Francisco and Roboto and so yeah, I can see I don't have that font. Is there a way I can?
So if you had installed San Francisco onto this, and then would you be able to just change all the typeface real quick and easy to get back to where you wanted it?
I would imagine if I had actually it was Roboto I thought was this font. Oh no, it was Captain America. I would probably have to install it, yeah. And it would probably be proper if I did. You wouldn't have this problem. I don't know. That's better. What is this? So if you make a style, is that what I had? Whatever. The other thing you'll see is if you make a change, the colors get messed up as well. What I mean by that is I had red on the bottom here for this, and now it's gone. Whatever. I'm going to move on. I can do that later. Yeah, it's because it was, I believe, mine's grayed out too. So the only way I was able to do it is to go to this window, the style window, and change it here, and then go and change it there. I don't know. It's messed up. Oh, jeez. sort of lock things as well. Okay, whatever. I was thinking of color palettes again. We're here. If you're, and let me duplicate this screen here. I'm going to duplicate this one. So let's say I'm making a second screen here. I'm going to duplicate it. Okay, and then I'm going to zoom in. And let's say we are, oh, I can't take this. This needs to do something. Okay, whatever. So let's say I want to change this color of this box right here. And of course we have our color palette down here. You'll notice that any object inside of Sketch actually has the options over here. Again, you have a fill color right here. If I click on that to change the color, you'll notice it brings up the window. Now in that window it brings up brings up several different options over here. You can choose your color from this option like we had here. Or, of course, over here it gives you the hexadecimal values. I think we were looking at the hexadecimal values last class when we were looking at the different color tools, right? Remember we were looking at the colors whatever website that was. There were like 4 different websites to choosing colors that we demonstrated last class. They all used, again, hexadecimal as well as RGB values. And, of course, the A over here is for the transparency. If you want to have, A stands for alpha. The alpha is the transparency. The other thing I was looking at as I was building this screen right here is the ability to apply a transparency to some of the objects that you might have. You'll notice right here I have a transparency option or opacity option here for like this keyboard. So if somebody clicks up here and the keyboard pops up, I can actually have a transparency there if you want. That's actually a transparency on one of the built-in objects. Now remember, in Sketch you have all the built-in iOS kind of things right in there. So let me delete some of these things here, and let's say we want to make a page that says date for pickup. So I'm going to call this one, let me get rid of this box. I'm going to delete that, and let's just change this text, date. So remember last class, are we doing all uppercase or lowercase letters? We also talked about that. Would it be better to be date for pick up, or would it be better? And if you look, I mean, both Google as well as Apple have gone to this really bold text. And what I mean by that is, even if, do you remember when they changed the YouTube? I know you guys probably didn't really notice it too much, but if you look at the new YouTube, you know, you got this new kind of YouTube look here. This was not like that just, you know, like 3 or 4 months ago, right? They went to this kind of really different type of typography on their website. See how it's all capital letters right here? Best of YouTube. If you look at the older versions of YouTube, it wasn't like that. And if you want to see how they evolved, remember, you can always see the evolution of designs with the archive, right? Archive.org. And, oh, don't spell it wrong, porn. Oh, sorry. So remember the Wayback Machine. Let's go to YouTube. And I don't know, they just changed. So let's look at last year's YouTube. And look, they have all uppercase letters here. I have to choose a time. What's the difference between green and blue? Or maybe a green one. Okay, Christmas is not popping up here. How about December? Okay, whatever. Let's just move on. My whole point is that they've changed the way they do their typography, and same with your phone. Did you notice that? Those of you who have the iOS, did you see the big typography that they've started using for things after you've done the update? They got these big, bold, black San Francisco font with a red, coming at you. So, in doing so, oh, here it is. And here's the difference between today. See the typography today and last year. Look how larger it is compared to last year. You'll see larger, a lot more space between things. Look at this is last year's menu, and this is this year's menu. Do you see the difference? It's bolder. There's more space between things. They opened up the space compared to here, and then the way the logo is much different as well. I don't even see the logo here, but they changed the way the logo is as well. So I think it's more of a branding thing that they were going for. But Apple did the same thing. Apple went to the much more bolder kind of look. So, last class we talked a lot about upper and lowercase letters. So, do I use date for pickup? All uppercase. So I want them to choose a date for this. Again, you have simple shape tools here inside of there. And so if they're going to choose a date, the other thing we kind of talked about as far as when we were making the last week, when we were doing that, do I put this inside a box? Is the user going to click on the box? And let's rearrange this. And so would they tap on this and then it bring up the calendar? Something like that. And let me put the color in there. And then remember there's the pre-made things for UI stuff is in here. So if you just go to the insert, you got your iOS UI options here, and I'm looking for the date. So if I can find my date. It's the rolling date thing, right? I don't have the date thing in here. It's kind of the this is keyboard. Maybe under symbols. That's about the same thing. Well, no. I thought there would be a date one in there. I swear I saw a date one before. You know what I'm saying? It's like a rolling thing, right?
Oh, like the little watch thing.
Yeah, it's.
I don't know.
I thought it would be built into that. It's the iOS date picker. Oh. There you have it in Sketch. Yeah, here. I guess we can download it. Okay, I'm going to try and find it. I don't know why it's not built right in. So I'm going to copy that.
Where did you download that one?
I've downloaded it off, I don't know, I found it on Google. There we go. So here's the date picker. You can find it right online. Again, I found it. I just went to Google. I went to Google and typed in Sketch app. Here, what did I type in? iOS date picker sketch, and went here. Then I downloaded it here. I opened it up, and then I copied and pasted the one I found into my example here. So again, you can use pre-made objects like this, and if you're using pre-made objects like this, doesn't mean you can't customize them. To customize them, you can double click on them, and they go into the controls. And let's say I wanted the color of the date to be different. If you double click, it's kind of like a symbol, right? You're going into a symbol, and then you can go and I can choose. I want the text here to be in blue. Let me zoom in. So again, if you are using pre-made things, you can go and adjust them. Oh, I probably don't have the font on here too. Look at that. As soon as I went to adjust, it, the color went crazy on me. So the font went nuts on me. But that's okay. I guess we're gonna have to get the font we want here. So here's my purple. So if you go and find pre-made things like this inside of Sketch, you can then go and adjust them, and then you see where it says return, and there it is updated in my app as well. Now I have my purple. Okay, so if you find things like that that are online, or you wanted the date picker and I couldn't, it wasn't built in, so I went and found it and I imported it. You can actually do that as well. Also, like I was saying before, if you're using an instance or an object like this, that object can have transparency to it. So in addition, if I had, let me say we had the map underneath there, and let me put this date picker on top. So I have the date picker on top. If you select this instance of this symbol or instance of this object, you can go over here to the options, and again you have an opacity slider right here, and you can turn it down if you want to see something through. So objects like this that are grouped together, that are instance of a UI element, can have transparencies to them. And right here, as well as blending modes. You guys remember the blending modes from, ooh, you gotta love those blending modes. Those blending modes have been around for a long time. I was using blending modes back in the 90s. So again, you can make yourself a color palette. Again, I kept that purple that I used for that. You could use objects that are pre-made, like this one right here and this one right here. Think of text. I think again there is do I use all uppercase letters or lowercase letters? Let's talk about changing the artboard size. As you can see here, I changed the artboard size here. I know when you are working inside of Sketch, you can make a new artboard right here. And then in that artboard, you can choose what phone you want or whatever. You can also duplicate an artboard if you want. Like I was working over here, and I can select all this and duplicate an artboard as well to make a second screen. The other thing you can do is you can change the size of the artboard. Now, since the way I have this, I have a gradient here. That's a gradient. And if I just drag this, it's just dragging the gradient. You don't see anything because you just scaled this gradient, which I don't want to do. What I really want to do is just change the artboard like I did over here, so it is extended down just to simulate that there's more down here. And so you can adjust the size of your artboard is if you select it, and the easiest way to select the artboard is to click on the text at the top up here. If I click on the text on the top up there, it will select the artboard. And when you do have the artboard selected, you'll notice over here you have a size. And so once I start changing the height here, it'll go from iPhone 8 Plus to custom. Watch I start changing the height here. And so if I start changing the height here, you'll see it starts growing and growing. You can see it growing at the bottom down below. I can also type in a specific size if I'm working and I said, okay, I want 1,000 pixels for my screen. You can type in an artboard. Again, the easiest way to select the artboard to change the size of the artboard if you have scroll elements down below is to click on the text at the top, which will select the entire artboard. Then over here you do have the ability to change it. Oh, and they do have a background color right there for your artboard right there, so you can give yourself a... Now I'm using a gradient because that was my design to have a gradient in the background. But if you look right here, it looks like there is a background color option here. So you can have a background color option there. I don't remember if I've ever done a gradient in Xcode. I might have. I don't know. I'll have to see. I was fooling around with gradients, and that's why I have gradients. Again, I'm making multiple screens. Now, once you're done making multiple screens and stuff, you can make this into a prototype. So there is a plugin for Sketch that allows you to do a prototype. I can't remember what it is. I have to search. It's this plugin. Okay, so this plugin allows you, here you can watch the video.
This is Sketch, but it's not the Sketch you're used to. With prototyping, thanks to Craft, just hit C and connect design elements to screens. That's it, really. It's the simplest way to design, prototype, and publish your work all in one place. Plus, it gives you a bird's eye view of how your screens are connected, so you can move faster and work smarter. When you're ready, sync your screens to Envision with just a click, so you can preview, share, and collaborate. Then people can comment on your work on their own time or collaborate together in real time. Updating your prototype is as simple as you'd expect. And because you're using Craft Sync, your files are already primed and ready for developers to jump in and get to work using Inspect. Design, prototype, and collaborate seamlessly. Prototyping in Sketch is here, powered by Envision.
So there's a plugin that allows you to build a prototype with, so it's not built right in the Sketch, but I don't know how much it costs. How much does it cost? I don't see price. I don't want to. Oh, free? Is it free? Where is it?
It's free.
It is free?
Yeah.
Get started absolutely free. No credit card needed.
Forever.
They just get a copy of all your ideas. That's all.
Okay, so I'll have to try this, and maybe we'll try it next week. I don't want to do it right now. I mean, it's going to take me a while to figure it out, maybe. Okay. You probably have to pay for the sharing things, right? If the collaboration part, right? I'm assuming it's the collaboration part is what you're paying for, right? You're paying to collaborate. I bet that's a lot of companies are doing that. Oh, you can use it for free, but then if you're going to share with other people, you need to have an account, a sharing account, or whatever. The other thing I was thinking about was the the ability to rotate the design. But
What, like you're gonna turn the screen?
yeah, I don't know. What's that gonna? How about you showing me your screens? How about we do a little critique so that we can make your screens better? Who has a screen they want to show? How about your login screens? You guys make login screens from last week?
Yeah, I got one.
You want to show them on the screen?
Sure, how should we, how do we? You can stream your computer.
Hold on, let me save this.
One's for free. Don't worry, just check you. Where's your old one? You had your old app. I don't have a blue one. I don't have one. I know you're missing one. Oh. Can't use that. Oh, I mean, I can go ahead.
Okay, so who has a screen? Is it on Canvas? Who has one on Canvas I can download? Who has one on a chip? Who has one in their head?
I have one on Canvas.
Okay. It's under last week. Form sample, this one? That's Michael. He's not here, is he? No. Let me open up an Acrobat. I can't open an Acrobat. Acrobat. So this is a login screen? Oops. It's trying to zoom. How do I zoom? Oh, there we go. So FB stands for what? Food Buddy. Very nice. Okay, so what do you guys think of all lowercase letters?
Cute.
What about username or email? Is that a common choice to offer both?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Wouldn't it be password? What if I've already signed up? Or is this just a sign up screen?
Well, you have a choice.
Yeah.
Either you already have an account, so you would either type in your username or email, or you need an account, so you need to sign up.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
No, that makes sense. And then after you put in your username, you're going to go to the password line of that. Or if you sign up, then it's
So what do you guys think of the actual username and sign up being a color, but the next is being white? Remember last week we talked about making the usually the button a different color, right? So
Is it the same white as the F and the B?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. The only thing I would say, I get FB, but not being familiar with the app, having the actual name of the app also might be cool. But I like the FB as the logo kind of little thing. Once you actually know, I don't know if on the main home screen I want to have food, but
is this the only screen, or is there another one?
FB is the first.
I thought there was another one.
Okay. Yeah, it says one of and two. Let me try.
It should be in the same file.
Oh, it doesn't. Evil canvas. Let's try preview. How about that? So, no.
I have a custom font in mind, and I upload it as a PDF. Will it still display that font, or your computer does not have it, or?
It should display it with a PDF.
Okay,
So I don't know.
okay, well, I submitted one, so we.
Okay. I think it's fine. I you know, the font is okay. So the color of the username or email is that's not pure black, is it? It's kind of like a gray.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then there's a little drop shadow behind the F and B. It's the same as the drop shadow behind here, right? Gives it a 3D kind of look. I kind of like that. The next, there's larger space between the next and the sign up compared to these. It looks a little big maybe in here. I don't know. Maybe make this font a little smaller. I don't know. What do you guys think as far as size? It just seems tight to me.
Yeah. I say, yeah, I kind of like, it seems like everybody for mobile is doing all caps for, you know, things that you actually interact with, and then maybe lowercase with, like, legal stuff and everything that's actually
I think maybe if you made the text a little smaller, you can actually, I might exaggerate the space between the or and the email. So right now it kind of runs together. Username or email is kind of, it's almost I'm kind of reading it like that. Would it have extra space there? Maybe. I don't know. Let me look on, Google here. I'm looking for one that actually has two login or email. Which one has both? Does anybody know? An example? They might have login and email in the same line. Is it Facebook? No. This one says enter username, and it's kind of grayed out as well. No, this is kind of normal space between an or here. See the or here? It's kind of, it may because it's kind of big text in a box. I might consider making it just a little smaller. Okay, I guess those are some ideas. So, who else has one they want to show?
I have one.
Is it in here?
Yes. I just uploaded it like.
I know. I'm gonna have to refresh.
I'm very well. I haven't finished it yet, but I can upload it. I'll probably do it.
Okay, so we have a 24. This is the logo. 24. All uppercase letters, right? All uppercase letters.
Trying to be trendy.
Trendy. What do you guys think of the texture background?
It looks nice, but it's great. Great.
What does this say here? Is that trendy too?
It works. I like it. It's cute.
Okay, so you got a nice little blue. Is that it? A blue with a kind of a.
Yeah.
Is it blue with a gray background?
Yeah, I'm not trying to go for too many colors, at least in the login screen. That's simple, easy. Just what you gotta do.
Like the logo. What do you guys think? Kind of a clock look, but what is the dots meaning?
It's also like pizza.
Pizza.
Yeah, like pepperoni.
I was thinking more scheduling a time at a certain spot in time, right? I don't know.
It is in the eye of the beholder.
What about the exclamation point? This. What is that there for? Is it part of the logo?
No,
It's just part of the line of text.
Yeah. But I thought it'd be neat to make the 24
And then you have a little dot here at the end of the
yeah.
period. Is that a sentence? I'd be weary of putting punctuation marks at the end of things, maybe. I don't know, what do you guys think? You got a period here, and then you have this here. Now, the question is, I just don't know if that's needed or that's unneeded. I don't know.
Let's do 24 with the exclamation point's gonna be part of the logo.
Yeah.
If that's gonna be the type.
That's my whole point, is that if the exclamation point is part of the logo, it's 24.
Oh yeah.
And then if not, then in my brain, I'm adding it to the logo, right? Saying, oh, that must be part of the logo.
I would also say move the 24 down to where it's flat with the food. I think. With the subscript. Yeah. Okay, I'll experiment.
I kind of like it with the subscript. I just don't know about the explanation point. You know, I like the little gradient on the bar here. This is kind of nice, right? And then, you know, the big uppercase letters like that.
Did you do that in Illustrator or Sketch? I just put that up in Photoshop.
Okay, very nice. Let's see. Anybody else have one in here? Jacob, you have one?
Yeah.
Bando? Or
Bando? Yeah. It's
Bando.
It's a rack list.
It's like it's an item one in service.
Uh-huh.
Just kind of play around. Just made it.
Looks good.
Get paid for your junk.
It's Sketch. Yeah. Oh, the
Lady.
the lady. No, it's a Google. Yeah, it's prepaid.
So that's the first screen?
Yeah.
And then here's the second screen.
Both are like, yeah. Quick, simple, easy cash.
No pun intended.
Oh my god, I realized just now.
Quick, simple, easy cash.
Yeah, right.
So what do you think of the purplish color with the green?
Green. The blue.
Is it blue or purple?
Blue, purple, blue.
Purple and
Purple
blue.
and blue.
On my screen, it's green and purple.
Oh, is it green and purple?
Yeah, it's like the green and purple.
It's the projector.
Like-
The projector is not color balanced. On my screen, that's literally green. Boy, it's just showing you how off the colors are on the damn projector. Really, it's green, right?
Yeah.
He sees green. I see green. You see blue.
You see green on this?
No, the screen, but the projector washed it out.
Yeah, the projector is making it blue.
Right, okay.
So
It's just an off projector.
Don't count
It's
on
not-
that projector.
It's not having to choose colors that are calibrated for everything, right? It's
Yeah.
just the projectors. I mean, I think it looks pretty cool with blue. Yeah, it's that color. I mean, if it was green,
I was going for like a green purple, more of like
it's a
a
contrasting colors.
like
Contrast.
yeah, more like a I don't know how to explain it. I guess more like a rundown because it's called Bando. More like a trap green, green purple, like an old blues style, goosebumps. I guess I don't know.
Oh yeah, those old goosebumps books.
Yeah,
I remember those. Okay. Those old books. Color palette ones. Something simple works. Yeah, this is adorable. It's awesome.
I re-uploaded page 2.
Okay.
Can you see it in Adobe Illustrator?
Sure. Okay, so nice and simple. And so you're going to build more screens around this Bando idea?
I'm probably gonna work on animation and get the prototype going.
Okay.
Just for like own personal project. Yeah.
I like being able
So what do you think of the uppercase get and then all lowercase across? And then again, they have an uppercase here, and then lowercase all the way across, uppercase here, lowercase all the way across. As long as it's consistent like that, I guess it's okay. I think that's the important thing is, you know, making sure if you're going to use that idea, that idea, that idea. Some nice space. I like that space between the words. It makes it easier to read. The little dot is kind of following along, you know, am I getting close to the end? Second end. Here's my end. What do you think of the color changing behind each character? This one's kind of a reddish, and then this is a little lighter. This is a little different.
Are they just 3 examples of the? Oh no.
They're just different colors, that's all. You really can't tell too much on there, on the screen, but on the projector. But here on the screen, it's a lot different. Okay. Hopefully that helps you a little bit with some comments. Debbie, you have another one you're saying here? I should open it in what? In Illustrator?
Yeah, it's an AI file.
Oh. Let me close this and I got to start again. Uh-oh, it's found an icon buddy that's linked.
Oh no.
So it's missing the graphics here. So if you're going to bring 2 Illustrator files in, if they're linked, make sure you go to Links and you embed. Okay, so in Illustrator, go to the Links window, Links right here, Links, and then you choose the item that you have linked it to, and then the option is to use Embed right here. See that right there? So go and do that, and then it'll become part of the Illustrator file without having a separate link.